Hey, in this video, we're going to build this simple N8N automation that scrapes analytics from your X account or Twitter and adds it to Airtable. And then from there, you can analyze the content. You can look at the views, look at the look at the stats, and see what content performs the best. Also, you can duplicate this automation to work for your competitors as well. So essentially, you would scrape their analytics and look at the content that performs best for them. And this is kind of the result that you could expect. So let's go ahead and build it live with me. So the first thing that you need to do is just create an account on N8N. If you go to my X profile, and maybe by the time I upload it, I'll have a YouTube video as well, where you can learn how to self-host N8N and essentially use this tool for free. If not, you can use the free trial. I think they have it for like 2 weeks, or just pay for the cloud subscription. But anyway, once you're here, you create a workflow, click add first step, and click trigger manually. We're just going to use it to trigger the automation for now, and then we're going to switch it to trigger it by a given schedule, let's say every day, every hour, etc. So then what we'll use to scrape the main content, essentially we're going to use this tool called Appify. It is essentially a marketplace of scrapers, which allows you to get a scraper for TikTok, Google Maps, Instagram, in our case Twitter or X, etc. And the good thing about it is you can also use it for free, because some of the scrapers, as you see here, will cost you around $0.50 per 1,000 results in this example. And essentially, for every 1,000 posts that you're going to scrape, you'll only pay $0.50. And if you look here, I have $5 of free usage per month. So, and you'll have it the same. So you'll be able to use this tool pretty much for free, unless you want to scrape a ton of posts. So you can go to the store and you can explore their marketplace. You can look at the scrapers that they have. But what we need is just search for, I think, gentle_cloud/Twitter. Yeah, gentle_cloud/Twitter --tweets-scraper. And then you should be able to see this here. And then how to use it is just copy the URL of the profile that you want to scrape. In my case, I'm just going to scrape my profile URL, and then provide the since date. If you want to go, to scrape content from a specific date, and choose how many results you want to scrape at most. So just as an example, let's scrape 10 results. It should be pretty quick for 10 items. So let's see. It's loading up and it should appear any second. Yes, there we go. I'm going to refresh the page. And yeah, these are the items. As you see, we got the date, we got the full text, we have all other information, as well as like how many likes I got, how many replies, and etc. So now what we need to do is just transition this automation into N8N. This is how we do it. So just click plus. Unfortunately, N8N does not have an Appify module, so we'll need to make API requests. But this is pretty simple. You just search for HTTP node, then choose post request, and then type in this URL. So I'm just going to copy it, but essentially https //api.appify.com/v2/acts/ and then you need to copy the ID of the scraper. And on this page, this is the ID. So it goes after actors / and then you can copy this value. This is the ID, and then /runs. So I'm just going to mute my notifications. Authentication, generic credential type, and from here you choose header auth, and then I'm going to choose my Appify connection. I've already created it, but to create your connection, you go to settings, and then API and integrations, and then you copy your personal API token, and you can create a connection on N8N pretty easily. So this first connection is going to be us running an actor. So an actor on Apify is just this scraper, and one kind of scraper is one actor, and then you can run these actors multiple times. And then the next thing that we need to do is actually let's test it. Oh, before we test it, we need to send headers as well. It's going to be content dash type application JSON, then send body body content type JSON using JSON. Then go back to Apify, go back to the actors, find this one, and then as you see in the input, we have our manual type, but also we have the JSON, and we just need to copy the JSON and paste it in here. And then again, you can play around with these inputs, but for this case, let's just scrape the latest 10 posts from my profile. Click save and test the step. Yeah, as you see, we got some data. It's not actually the data from the scraper, it's just information about this actor run. Now what we need to do is get the information, get details about this run, and then from there we'll get the data set containing all of the items that we scraped. So you can click, right click on this module, click duplicate, connect it, and in this case, I'm going to call it get actor run. This is going to be a get request. The URL is going to be get is going to be the same, except after v2 will have actor dash runs slash and then JSON data ID. So this is the ID that was created by the previous module. You can search for it here. It should be data, then ID, and just drag and insert it here. And then we don't need to send the body, and we need to send query parameters. And I think it's called wait for finish, and provide 60 here. And then if you click test step, it should be working. Yeah, there you go. We got some data. Again, this is not actually data of, it's not the scrape data, it's just information about the run. And now here you should be able to see this field called default data set ID. And this is what allows us to get the information about the scraped data. Again, you can click here, click duplicate. Let's call it get dataset, and then the URL will be, I think it's datasets, and then instead of a data.id, we're going to provide default dataset ID, default dataset ID / items. And then we don't need any core parameters, we don't need any body, and then the method is get. And if you run it, you should be able to get the content, and there you go. We get 10 items that we scraped. So that's great. Now all we need to do is just add this data to Airtable, and then the automation is pretty much finished. So you can obviously add this data to any other tool like Google Sheets, ClickUp, I don't know, Monday, any other tool that you're using. I just personally recommend Airtable. And I went there and created a new table. It will have these fields. So we have the date, the view count, the full text of the post, the amount of replies, amount of likes, amount of retweets, quotes, bookmarks, the attachment of the post, and the URL to the post. Now we go back, and all we need to do is first we actually need to add an if statement to check if the post has an attachment or not, and then based on that we'll create like different branches. So search for if node, and then here we just need to provide if extended entities exist. So just search for extended entities in the input. If it does not exist, just type in this one, because sometimes if you scraped, if the latest item that you scraped did not have an attachment, this field will not exist. So in that case, just type $JSON.extended entities, and we want to check if the object does not exist. So if it does not exist, it means that the attachment does not exist. It means that there is no video or image, and we just will add it without any attachment. So just click run to propagate the data, and then add an Airtable module, and it's going to be an upsert module, or create or update a record, and it's called upsert a record. Add your connection, and then to add your connection, by the way, you just go to Airtable, then go to your profile, Builder Hub, and then here you can create a personal access token. So once you add it, you can search for your database, search for the table. There we go, and then we're going to map the data. Since we're using an upsert upsert module, so it's create or update. How it works is that it will look for an existing item on Airtable. If this item exists, it will update it with the data. If it does not exist, it will create it as a new record. So as our kind of unique identifier of each record, we're going to use a URL. So in the columns to match on field, you just select URL, and then we are going to provide it from the previous node. And this is not the one. Yep, there you go, URL. This is the URL of the post, and then we just need to provide all other information like the date, created ad, and then we need to format it to a date object because it's currently a string, and then also convert it to a format that we like. In my case, I just use the ISO format, which is year dash month dash day, and then space HH double column MM, which gives us the time. Next, we need to provide the view count, which is where is it? Views count. Then in this case, we need to actually also convert it to a number, because for some reason Amplify returns it as a string, and I have it as a as a number. This is a number field, and it will cause issues with Airtable. Then full text is going to be full text. X replies are going to be reply count. Yep, reply count. Like count is going to be favorite count, I think. Yep. Then retweet count, quote count, and bookmark count at the top. Then we're skipping the attachment, and yeah, I think that's all we need. And then what you can do is just right click on it, click duplicate, and add it here. So this is going to be the case when we need to add an attachment. Unfortunately, N8N for now does not have an easy way to add an attachment, with a URL. But what we need to do is just add an item, and then just make an API call to Airtable to update that record with an attachment. So create an HTTP request. It's a patch request because we're updating something, and then the URL that we're using is https://api.airtable.com v0/v0/, and then here you will see some kind of an ID. So go back to your Airtable table, and then in the URL you will be able to copy the first ID. This is the ID of the database. Just copy and paste it here, and then the second ID is the ID of the table, and then paste it in here as well. And then /JSON.id, this is going to be the ID of the previous record that we want to update with an attachment. And then as the body, we're going to send it as a raw application JSON, and this is going to be what we are providing. So essentially, as you see, we are providing a list of fields. The field that we want to update is called attachment. If in your case it's called, like a video or an image, you just need to type it in exactly as you have it on Airtable. And then the URL is going to be the one from extended items. So if I go back to from extended entities. So it should be extended entities, media, and then media URL HTTPS. That's the one that I'm using, and it is coming from the if node. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If I click save and we can test the run, what I'm gonna do is instead of running the actor again, we can just pin the data. So click on this module and on the right side, just click pin, and then pin every single Epify API call. This is what I love about N8N. You can just pin the data and no need to run every single module from scratch. So click test workflow, and as you see, there's 5 items with without attachments and 5 items with an attachment. If everything is correct, it should add them right away, so that's good. And if we go back to Airtable, refresh the page, it should appear here, yes, and then you can see the view count, the text, the attachments, and yeah, this is pretty much it. What you now can do is I have a sort, which is sorts by the view count, so that I can see the top performing posts, and then you can also create different views, create different filters where you can see the posts from the last week, the posts from the last month, posts that have over a certain amount of views. That's maybe what you're using to look at your competitors' posts and see what's working for them. Yeah, if you want to scrape for other people, essentially go to the first module and then in the JSON just replace this URL and it's going to work. And maybe you want to create a different table for them. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it made sense on how to deal with this automation. If you have any questions regarding the automation or any ideas that you would like me to build, just leave them down in the comments below. Bye-bye.